Well, thank you very much for talking with me. Today is the official first day of the IMF World Bank Spring Meeting. And you came from Ghana. You were once part of the ministry, and now you're a member of the parliament. This is a new administration. Can you talk to us about what your agenda, what you expect to achieve at this event?
Well, Ghana is on a path to recover from the effects of the recent shocks that hit the global economy. The last administration did its bit. After the election, there's a new administration that seeks to do its bit and seeks to do it even faster and deeper than our administration sought to do. Here at the meetings, we're expecting both from the parliamentary side and then from the executive side to try and strike the kind of, may I say, arrangements or associations that will be able to crowd in resources to help us achieve this objective. We're also looking to share best practices with other countries that may find themselves in similar situations, those who may have come out of it or those who are yet to come out of it. Those are the two top things we hope to achieve here.
I mean, you talk about shocks. One of the recent shocks that Africa, as well as the rest of the world, is dealing with right now is the announcement from the U.S. regarding tariff. Talk about how that impacts you and what you're doing to work with the current administration to address that.
I think thankfully the announced tariffs have been suspended for a while now. Paused.
Yeah, for 90 days.
For 90 days. It is our hope that African governments will take it very seriously. Back home in Ghana, we've been urging our government to take it very seriously and to try and negotiate at the highest levels to ensure that they do not come into effect, because if they do, they will have the first line direct negative impact on our very fragile economy. Second is the fact that even if they are suspended or cancelled, if China goes ahead to have this big trade war with America, global supply chains will struggle, global prices will go up, and that will have a certain full circle effect on global inflation, which will hit us. And we know that the vulnerable economies like ours don't do very well when global inflation goes up. So again, we need to add our voices to the conversation aimed at halting this impending trade war. But thirdly, I think it's also for us on the south-south side to deepen ways by which we can open up our markets and trade and supply raw materials to one another and settle payments across one another, so that even if the West and maybe the East are having their own challenges, on the south-south side we can achieve a lot more.
Okay, I mean, one thing that you just mentioned is opening the trade between the South and South. And I know one thing that the previous administration worked on, which we are part of is digitalization, digital money. Talk about that and why it is important for African, especially with African free continental free trade, why this is important, especially at this period.
So I think that the balkanization of Africa, which has led to different countries, different currencies, has added a layer of difficulty to trade on the continent. And therefore, the development of payment platforms that allow seamless trade, regardless of currencies, is very important. And that's why the Pan-African payment systems, which has been put in place now, PAPS, is a brilliant idea. And our expectation is that a lot more commercial banks in Africa and a lot more payment systems providers in Africa will sign on, so that merchants can do their business and settle in their domestic currencies and still get same-day value credited to them. It is a big deal. Thankfully, I think the DFIs in Africa are very happy and pushing it. I think Afrexim is very happy and pushing it. And we think a lot more central banks and commercial banks and payment platforms in Africa should sign up.
And one thing that Ghana is also working on is regarding debt restructuring. Could you talk about what
we are almost done with that very painful pill, and it's brought our debt burden down to about 61% of GDP. Our interest is to ensure that we don't rack up too much debt in the short to medium term, but we're able to improve domestic resource mobilization and improve spending efficiency to deliver public goods and services for our people.
Okay, one other thing before you go. Regarding the special envoy for the Trump administration was just in Africa.
Yes.
And they will be doing more trips for investors, I know you've had long relationship with the U.S. For investors that are looking to enter into Ghana, what sectors are top priorities for you?
I think agro-processing is a top priority sector, so that the God-given abilities to produce food can be preserved and made available to markets that are even very far from us. I think backward integration into agriculture itself is also very important. Construction is one of the important areas, as well as digital services.